welcome in the first episode of our show. Today we have a really special guest with very different experience, and they will try to answer the question what exactly is the IoT and why it depends. But before we start, let us introduce our guest, starting from Łukasz.
Okay, thanks for the invitation. My name is Łukasz Schulz, and for more than 15 years I'm working in various areas of industrial automation, and probably that's why I'm here.
Exactly, thank you, Łukasz. Grzegorz.
Good morning. Thank you, Paweł. Hello, everybody. My name is Greg Stawicki. I'm working in NTT PST more than 12 years. I had the technical background with a deep understanding of PLM, SLM, and IoT. In the company, I play different roles, and currently I'm responsible for the international business growth. And it's an honor being here.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. Konrad.
Hello everybody, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm Konrad Drocka, and I think I can bring some insight about the history of IT in the last, I think, 15, 12, 20 years. My role in the company has been different over the years. Now I'm responsible for the IoT department. But my beginning was actually like about 15, 16 years developing one of the projects there at that point of time when we were connecting vending machines and making the communication with the SMS messages. So I have some experience I can share with that.
Yeah, so this is the connection with the beginnings of the IoT. Well, the students in the California connected the first Coca-Cola vending machine to the internal network. So this is how the actually IoT begins. So it's a very interesting angle. Yeah.
Now it's completely different, so we can also talk about it.
Yeah, maybe about some newer stuff. Okay, so let's go straight to the topic. What is your understanding of IoT? But please try to answer try to answer this question from your perspective, from your position perspective, from your daily work perspective. Okay, so what is the IoT? What is the understanding of that word to you? Maybe this time, Konrad.
Okay, IoT it's a maybe new name for an old concept, I believe. Łukasz maybe will tell more about the roots in the industrial side of IoT. But if you are asking for a definition of IoT, what that means for me, I believe that although it's a new concept or new name, we have been gathering data since many years. Mm-hmm. We have customers which were gathering the data about their products since beginning of 90s. For me, the IoT it's not only connecting some sensors, Raspberry Pis, something like that. It's by making the different sources of information integrated and working together. So that's something which is able to allow to enable some companies, users to be more effective. So for me, Internet of Things is about connecting different sources, not only sensors, but connecting and taking value from that.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the IoT is obviously a very wide concept. It covers different sub-concepts under this topic. But for me, everything is about data and the connectivity. And the value for the customers is to access data anytime and anywhere. And these are the reasons currently the technologies like 5G or the cloud allows to make really a value of the data that customers are storing from the late 1990s, right? Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's the definition of the IoT in the words of the guy selling the projects, right?
Yeah, thank you. Łukasz?
I would agree with my colleagues that the word itself is new, but the concept, it started since the beginning of automation of systems, of software. So how I understand it, it's like that's what internet is for people. We are exchanging ideas, we are exchanging information fast, reliable, from many sources. There is a lot of data in the net, but we need to transfer them into information, only those that we are interested in. That's exactly what is Internet of Things. So things like machines, sensors, now it's even smart bands or whatever. They need to exchange data with each other and with us. So they have now voice to say in real time what is the state of the machine, what are the measurements, and tell it to the operator. It was from the beginning, because we have HMIs, human-machine interface, so the guys see exactly how this machine works. But now this machine can tell it not only to this guy who is standing next to it, it can tell it to the central system, it can tell it to the machine next to it. So when the data flow, we can have some additional layer of understanding. And that's the main idea how I understand what is Internet of Things for.
Yes.
I think it's worth mentioning that what Łukasz said just, it's some of the companies, he is from more industrial side, some of the companies have been gathering the data and using the data only for very limited purpose, like condition-based maintenance. The amount of data and the possibilities we have at the moment with the IoT and with this shape, current shape, is how to utilize the data further. It's, of course, some may say, let's go from the condition-based maintenance to the prediction maintenance, but it's not only this. This is not the end of this change, because we could predict some scenarios, make some stress testing of the production lines against some potential inputs. But again, it's a limited part of the IoT definition. We could go further for the supply chain, for the predictions, and all that stuff. So it's the data is there, and the IoT needs to get some value from that.
Yeah, but it's also breaking the boundaries between the silos of data, because usually the division that is maintenance division, they have their own database, they know about it, but the financial stuff, they have different values for the same machines, and they never speak to each other before. So this is a new concept for breaking those silos.
Exactly, and this is very interesting, because first thing I notice is that we have our three guests, and basically even if you agree with each other, I see some difference, with understanding. So for Konrad, my understanding, of course, it's wider here, but as the first thing you mentioned the connectivity, which is very important here. Grzegorz mentioned serve and availability, okay, as first thing, and you mentioned collaboration between the devices, an example, between the systems. For me, actually, I have a little bit different understanding than you have. Yeah, for me, IoT is all about having additional value from the data which already there, because the data is there. Okay, we have a lot of data. We have terabytes, picobytes of data, and actually, the great number of this data, the great amount of this data, like more than 90%, were produced in the last 2 years. Actually, yes. So we can see the trend. And this data, the amount of data will grow. And for me, IoT is all about, finding the way of having the more value actually from the data. Okay, so we don't really need only the operational data. Okay, how the temperature of the sensor change. For me, it's all about the concept. So putting this data in the right concept, maybe even third-party ideas or data. Okay, so we have a totally, maybe not totally, but a little bit different understanding and the definition of the same thing. So which shows how wide topic is the IoT actually, and how many domains are there. Yeah, this is very interesting.
Take a look, Pavel, on the digitalization part. So a lot of the companies had already data, but on a paper form.
Yeah.
Right. So this data exists, but it was not accessible from the IoT cloud layer, right? So right now, switching this data or translating the data from a paper form or even from human part, right? As we have right now difficulties with the workers, right? With old people working on the plants. For young, it's not really interesting part of the job, right?
Yes.
So it's already kind of all the remote worker idea. It's as well about translating a switching experience into a digital data in any kind of videos or like manual instructions for the others, right? So I mean, from my perspective, still the number of data we have is huge, but it's just bigger thanks to digitalization. And as you said, the key is what we will do with this data.
Exactly.
And it's a challenge.
Yes, and this is
Opportunity.
Opportunity, of course. And this is very smooth transition, because the next thing I wanted to talk about is, leave the concept, leave the definition, and take a look into the reality. Because nowadays we are hearing a lot of information, a lot of rumors, let's say, about this industrialization, digitalization, industrial revolution 4.0, about the IoT platforms that will connect pretty much everything, and so on and so on. So, from your perspective, this is the question rather for Grzegorz and for Łukasz, because you are dealing with the clients on the daily basis. Okay, you are talking with them, you're working with them together with the same team. So, this whole IoT, is it only a hype or a buzzword, or you really see the growth of the interest of having such a solutions in the clients' facilities, in example, or organizations, even if the clients cannot even name it, because I've met some organization that said I need this and this and this, and basically they gave me like 5 use cases for IoT system without even say IoT. Okay, so how do you see from your perspective? Do you see this grow, or this is still the hype?
I see this grow. I still believe that we are before the peak because it's growing. I'm personally focusing and really looking on the different trends since around 5-6 years, and it's for sure much bigger, right? So I guess on our side the growth is, like IoT projects are growing like 50% year over year, something like that. It's kind of a big, really tremendous growth on the side of TTPSC. When we are talking about the customers, for them IoT is an opportunity. For instance, to introduce new idea of smart connected equipment, smart connected product, device. So for them, it's an opportunity to build a unique position as an early adopter, innovator on the market, right? There is plenty of digitalization projects, as we said already. 5G and cloud are only, allowing this concept and making it wider, right? So definition is super wide. But in reality, customers are using it to optimize their processes, improve new features, right? For instance, if you will buy a heating unit for your home for personal use, right? Right now, the mobile application for controlling the temperature in your house, it's not add-on. It's a standard for leading manufacturers, right? So right now it's not really a question of is it important to implement IoT, but the question is about scaling and implementing this solution by the others who are following the leaders or the early adopters.
Exactly. And from more technical perspective, because you are doing the technical job. So for me, the most important, of course, with all the respect. With all the respect. But you actually do the implementation. Do you see the growth, the interest of the engineers, of the staff in the organization?
Definitely. But as you mentioned, most of customers do not know that it is from the area of IoT. It's like a next organic step in evolution. There were these so-called industrial revolutions. Like mass production, computers and PLCs, and the fourth one is called this IoT. It's part of the fourth revolution. But I'm saying it's not revolution. You do not need to destroy everything and build a new. It's just a natural next step. First, the production plants want to have automation, want to have all the machines independently work with given tasks. and cooperate with operator. But then, if everything of this is done, they are thinking, where can we go next? Okay, we have separate machines, but to do one proper report, how they are working and compare with each other, they need to go with the paper, write down some values, or download it to the pen drive, then use the most popular system MES, which is Microsoft Excel system, and they need to spend a few hours to compile together all those data. And the moment they finish, they are already obsolete. So they're thinking, how can I do it more efficient? How can I see my plant like an overview, and given for each person in the organization with different role, because production manager wants to see just the main KPIs, how the plant is running. But the maintenance engineer, he wants to see the temperature, vibrations, etc. So customers are asking us, usually they come in with the specific field, like, I have problem with this machine, how you can help me? And we are saying, okay, add sensors, put it into database, we will use some artificial intelligence, we will find you the reasons. Okay, but he's thinking what he can have more, and that's our task to tell him, you can have reports from this, you can compare these machines and find in the line the weak spot that is dragging down your overall efficiency. So they already have in mind what they want, they just don't know that there are already tools for it, and that the tools are from the area of IoT.
Exactly, and this is very interesting, because what you said is that you need a really skilled guys, because you have to connect this, analyze that, store this, use the artificial intelligence and so on. So we recognize that there is the interest in the IoT. So Konrad, maybe a question to you.
I can add. I would like to add something.
Of course.
Łukasz said it's not a revolution, and I totally agree. One of the IoT myths is that IoT can be applied only in the green fields. It's a myth, and because it's an evolution. One of the examples I mentioned about the data, that we gather the data and we need to really utilize the data. One of the examples, one of the, let's say, big manufacturing company, and they have I think it's like 5 years long project. They didn't call it IoT. They said, okay, we gather some of the data in the paper form, in the Excel, and they do not know even how much the data they have. So one of the stages they made was to name it as a dark data, and try to utilize it, try to transform it into dirty data, and then to make it really valuable data. So they have been doing that project since, I think, 5 years, and they were not marketing that they are doing a beautiful IoT example projects. They were just doing projects. So when just like finishing the idea, the thought about the hype and the marketing is there, but many companies are just not calling that it's IoT.
Exactly, and this is what I wanted to ask you, because so if this is an evolution, not the revolution, does it make it easier from the organization perspective to build the IoT team or to start the IoT business? Okay, from your perspective, how it goes?
I think two angles here. It's much easier for new companies like startups. Because the IoT is very broad, they could think about a new product for the home automation, some product for the industrial. It's very easy to build or set up a team which will have a different focus. For the organizations which are on the market since several years, it's in my opinion at least, it's a longer journey, because they will not just exchange the employees. And it doesn't matter if this is a vendor of the software, a system software integrator, or a customer. All of these companies and stakeholders need to adapt. So they need to find some people from the market, and they need to still adapt and educate people within the organization, because the know-how is there. You cannot just simply change people and be now more IoT ready. So answering simply your question, for the majority of the players, it's a longer journey and adoption of the skills.
Yeah, but is it worth it?
I believe so. all the reports, McKinsey and other, says that there is plenty of trillion dollars within different segments, right? Where there are going to be projects. So it's a business and it's a future. When you will not adapt, you will most likely be a very niche player with some old software, old solution, old product, which still will be market, but at some point of time it's gonna be obsolete. So I believe it's worth.
Okay, and about these areas, domains, let's say, of the IoT, how does it look in Poland and how does it look worldwide, let's say? Is it similar or not really?
I think we all will have here different opinions, but I think it really depends on the market. Some of the countries are more industrialized. Some of them are starting. Some of them have different types of businesses. Like let's say Poland, right? We do have a lot of manufacturing here, but still it's. We do manufacture very good stuff, like very high quality components for different industries, automotive, heavy machinery and other. But we need to focus more on the production side. Like for me, IoT here in Poland could be more in the smart manufacturing operations, less than in smart products. But it's again, you can have a company which will have an idea for a startup, and then they will be thinking on smart connected products. So it really depends on the type of country and type of businesses, industries you have in this country.
Okay,
but
can you agree with that, or you see something?
Yeah, I guess there's. I guess in Poland that there is also a good room and good space for the home automation. So this part of the IoT, and I mean, I had like a couple of comments as well to the previous question to this team and to this revolution/evolution of the IoT. So I remember one sample where we implemented for worldwide customers with really big number of factories worldwide, like 30, 40 factories and hundreds of thousands of employees. A concept where they invented internally an algorithm to optimize their processes on their lines. So before it was done manually by humans. In theory, it's in the area of MIS or SCADA systems, but they decided to implement this on purely IoT platform. And it was really a combination between like our team and the customer team to implement this. And IoT gives you a lot of flexibility, a lot of freedom, right? So here you could, it's really kind of evolution for, implementing kind of PLC steering settings from IoT layer, not from MIS layer, which is kind of a new concept, I guess, right?
Okay, yeah, it's also very interesting. Because do you have some thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just would like to get back to the previous topic because you and Konrad said about gathering data and from more and more sources. This is one step, but how I understand IoT new approach is really changing those data into information, because you can easily drown in the sea of data because we are producing a lot of them. 1 minute on production line can be terabytes.
Yes.
And at the moment, some companies already store them in some historians, but have no computing power and no idea what to do with them. They are leaving them for tomorrow, for the upcoming possibilities.
Yeah.
So I think this is the most important, not gathering a lot of data. Data is not giving you anything. Data must be changed into information with the context. So knowing exactly data from this source, together with that and that, from various fields, various systems, together give you information how you can improve. So this is my comment to the previous topic. And about, you were asking about team. I think it's not so easy to build a good IoT team. You need to have people who are kind of interdisciplinary they must be open enough to get out of their niche, out of their box. Like IT guys still sometimes think OT is like some mechanists or electricians.
Legacy stuff.
Yeah, it's obsolete, it's dirty, it's electrical. I don't want it. I like abstract things like data tables and cloud, etc. Yeah, and OT guys are so focused on the reliability of the system. So if it's working, don't touch it. Keep it working, because every moment machine stops and the production are real money loss. So if it's working, okay, doesn't matter. Machine is from 1970s, working, fine. Don't touch it. So it's not easy. The potential worker who wants to deal with it must be brave enough to think out of the box, to touch various tools, whatever is needed. So combine different tools from OT, IT, clouds, etc., to build one robust, proper application. And I think it's not so common because there are no schools who can teach you that. Schools are more into specialization. So this is my understanding.
Okay.
One comment to what Łukasz said and about the skill set. I totally agree. It has to be very, very flexible. Even if with the example we mentioned that at the moment we get a lot of data, the huge amount of data, and we need to develop skills how to define. It's different kind of skill set. In the past, of course, we had different needs. I mean, the computers were different and so on. We were trying to optimize the memory usage. Yeah. At the moment, it doesn't matter because you can just put some more megabytes in your laptop. In the cloud, it's even easier.
You switch a button.
Yeah, you just do one or two clicks. But my point is, at the moment, even with this situation, you have to develop skill set. What data, how often, how this is important to me, to my business, to my business problem, and to try to define the architecture of what data and how often to be sent. So completely different skill set, which has not been in the past required, right? Because we didn't have so much data. We could send whatever we had, and now we need to precisely define.
Yeah.
Because even if the bandwidth is, of the network connection is increasing, it's you can still fill it out and take whole bandwidth and be in a situation with a problem of connectivity. It's like we had with the different problems with the memory on the laptops, right? Yeah. You could forget it, and at some point of time there was a missing memory and resources. So this, shortly saying, new situation needs a new skill set and different thinking, like the architecture of sending the data.
Totally agree, and as Łukasz said, data collection is not a target. It's a way to achieve a target.
Yes.
It's one of the steps up front within the full IoT journey. And as we have different customers on different levels of this journey, we need to be flexible as a person, as a team, and as a company. And when you are talking or asking about team, I mean, from my perspective, especially within the IoT project, we need to drive the customer over the journey. So it's really a common goal of all mates from different teams, different departments. No difference if you are talking about sales rep, pre-sales, developer, project manager, scrum master, etc. Right? All these guys needs to have common goal, and they have common goal, customer success.
And this is very important, because what you are saying is that it's quite important to define someone like, Homo IoTicus, the guy who is focused only on IoT. Because if someone asked me, Paweł, how did you start with the IoT? So it was roughly about 10 years ago. I started from playing. I started to connect things because I had the need to connect, this stuff and try to control them remotely. Yeah? And then I started to read and then find this concept. Yeah, I remember how the cloud started and only the IaaS was available. Yeah, so it was the beginning. Yeah, and for me it was a joy. I was like a little boy and I was playing, connecting the dots. But it was possible then. But maybe you have some tips for the specialists or someone who wants to start the journey in IoT. What should be the path? What is the way? How to start? Doing IoT.
I guess that we are, I mean, right now I'm a little bit out of it, but I guess that we are looking for passionates, for the guys who really are in some sense playing at the work, right? Of course, it's not a play, it's a work, because sometimes we are doing the things which we need to do. But but generally speaking, in the company we have a lot of the knowledge. We have a lot of the trainings, not only for technical guys, for developers or pre-sales, but we have as well trainings for the business developer managers, right? So when a new guy is entering my team, I send him to Konrad, and then Konrad as a department leader is following this training and kind of the ramp up, right? Because it's right now it's quite difficult to find a good Internet of Things business development manager, right? And I guess it's also a little bit connected with the with TT offering, which I guess is quite unique on the market.
My tip would be enthusiastic. I completely agree. Do something practical, and if you do something practical, even if you fail, try to do something else, but make it practical. As an example, if you do not have an opportunity at your job to do something around IoT, you can still develop something to water your plants. A very simple automation connectivity is just very easy to do. So just try to do something practical, because in your company, in your projects, look for projects which have some sense. Meaning. If you do just coding for coding, at some point of time you will still be bored and you will be demotivated because it's not used. So if you find some interesting project, try to test, experiment with some technology and apply that piece by piece, but still be practical and do it for some purpose.
Definitely, I would agree. Start from the need. Because if you plan for yourself, I become master of IoT by first being master of Java, then being master of PLCs, etc. This is not the way. Start with a task, like you said. Connect. Okay, I want to know what is the temperature in my bedroom, and maybe if the temperature drops below something, start the heater. Start with this task and learn only those parts of the technologies you need to involve that are needed for fulfilling this task. This will give you satisfaction, gratification, and you will learn enough to do something like this. Next time, you will go deeper. But don't start like, first I need 2 years of learning Java, and then PLCs.
Yeah.
So definitely, like you said, start with something real, something that you will find the end of the project, look with satisfaction, I did it.
If you start with learning 2 years Java, then there will be another version of Java, or no Java, or JavaScript.
So basically, stop being afraid and let's see what happened. Try to connect this and simply see.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. It was a real honor and a pleasure to have you here. And I hope that we will see each other in the future episodes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thanks for watching Inside of Things episode. I hope you enjoy it. Please remember that you can find us on YouTube and Facebook. If you did enjoy, please subscribe the channel and hit the like button. Please remember that you can also find us on the dedicated Inside of Things webpage. It is very important because using this webpage you can sign up for the future events. Why this is important? Because at the end of each event you will get the survey, and by answering the questions in the survey you have the real impact in which direction this channel and the discussion in the next episode will go. So thank you for doing that and see you in the future episodes.